Welcome everyone to another episode of the Cover 2 podcast. I'm your host Lawson Turner, and two videos in one day. Wow. But I got another playing game to go over. Golden State Warriors lose in convincing fashion, 94 to 118 to Sacramento Kings. This game was the more shocking of the two games last night for reasons that we're going to get into right now. Klay Thompson, what the hell were you doing last night? 0 for 10 from the floor, 0 points. Crazy. I thought Keegan Murray, he's one of the. He's a star in his role. He is a star role player. They need him to be long, space the floor, shoot threes, and he came out early and was stroking that thing. He was on fire all game long. He hit 8 of 13 threes. That's a lot for anybody, unless your name's Steph, in which it seems like you do it once a week, except for last night. He was outstanding. He had 32 points, 9 rebounds. Sabonis fills the stat sheet damn near like no other. He had 16 points, 12 rebounds, 7 assists, 2 steals, and a block. De'Aaron Fox was De'Aaron Fox. He 24 points, 4 rebounds, 6 assists, 2 steals. 11 for 25 is not the efficiency that we want to see out of De'Aaron Fox, but nonetheless, they pull out the W. Golden State. The Dynasty is over. Your last hurrah was last year when you upset the Kings in a 6-3 matchup. Got to game 7, and Steph dropped 50. And it left this illusion that, oh, are the Warriors just a piece away? What are they missing? And then they go and do something foolish and trade for Chris Paul. When that's a bad basketball fit because you have two guys who essentially do the same thing in Draymond Green and Chris Paul now. I was never a fan. I didn't think it would work because one ball. To me, this was just a bad game for most Warriors. Like Steph was 8 of 16. The game was close all the way up until about midway to the fourth quarter. Like it was like the Kings controlled early, and the Warriors could never seem to regain the lead. Draymond hit the first 3 of the game, 3-0. Then Keegan Murray tied it, and it seemed as if the Kings weren't giving it up, and they weren't going to be denied tonight. No Malik Monk, no Kevin Huerter, and it didn't matter. It was one of the most. I'm not going to use the word crazy because it was so interesting as to how the game fell out. Because Golden State, you had your experience, you had we've we have beat you in this building before in meaningful games. Loser this game goes home. It's a massive game. And Steph, he doesn't lay an egg because, 8 of 16 is not bad. 50% from the floor, 3 of 7 from 3, made all his free throws. But it was like they couldn't get over the small humps. Like they would play good defense and the Kings would just make a shot. Most of the time it was Keegan Murray. Keon Ellis, though, I will say this, he had a hell of a game. In 38 minutes, 15 points, 4 rebounds, 5 assists, 3 steals, 3 blocks, 3 for 4 from 3, made both free throws, and played outstanding defense all night long. I'm not saying if they get into the tournament, they're going to be a scary team to the Thunder because now it's going to be Pelicans versus Kings Friday night. Winner gets the Thunder, loser goes home. But I think that this is going to be it's going to be such an interesting game considering the fact that we don't know what's going on with Zion. But to get back to this game, the dynasty's done. It's over. Clay's an unrestricted free agent. Could we see a team like the Orlando Magic throwing him a bag and trying to entice him to, leave Golden State? And if he does leave Golden State, what does this mean for everyone else's timeline? Because they're not. Warriors are kind of in they're a middle of the pack they're not contending for a championship, but because they have an all-time great player, they're not going to be bad enough to, go out there and say, all right, guys, let's try and tank for a superstar in the draft. Like you have older players who are just deteriorating. Like as a basketball fan, it'd be great to see how many more years Steph could hold this up, but he can't by himself. Like who's your second scoring option? Andrew Wiggins? Jonathan Kaminga? Like I don't know what the deal is. We know what Draymond is. He's not a scorer. He's a glue, hard nosed, do everything else guy. Clay, for whatever reason, he didn't fall off a cliff this year because he was awesome for the past 2 months to keep him afloat. Coming off the bench, he was awesome. But tonight, 0 for 10, dog. What the hell are we doing? 0 for 10. I don't. They had they had double the amount of turnovers of the Kings, 16-8. That led to that led that they outscored the Kings outscored the Warriors 12-6 in fast break points, and at they had 15 offensive rebounds. They wanted it more. They fed into the crowd. The crowd was rowdy. They're like, we're not the little brothers anymore. Y'all punked us last year, and this year we're gonna send y'all asses home. That's exactly what happened. The Kings, I tip I tip my cap to the Kings. They played an outstanding game, but there's still one more game to be played, and then we'll know what your fate is. Do you get into the tournament? Who knows? The Thunder are a super young team too. Could you guys upset the Thunder? I don't know, but we're gonna see. Because once again, you're not in the tournament just yet. The Pelicans are still waiting for you. This game was so I didn't see it going the way it was. Like the Kings, they were pulling away early, and then the Warriors would go on a 6-0 run or a 10-2 run, and they keep it close. But the Kings just weren't going to be denied. It was a good thing to watch because I loved this team last year. I was all team light the beam. They were just out. They were fun. They were young. They were fast. I loved Demontis Sabonis' game. They do everything like point forward. He's like a baby version of Jokic. But with all that being said, the Warriors just didn't have enough tonight or last night, I should say. Now they're left with more questions than answers as to where do we go from here? Where do the Golden State Warriors go from here? Do they try and bring Clay back? Do they try and see maybe do a sign in trade? Maybe get two other teams involved and see if they can get younger and faster? I don't know. I think that this is a really interesting. This offseason is going to be critical for the Warriors to see if they want to keep any kind of relevancy over the next couple of years because Steph's not getting any younger. You know, he's not getting any younger. And when you're a jump shooter, you don't deteriorate as fast, so you can extend your prime as we've seen Steph do. But for how long? How long are they gonna keep this core together? Because this is kind of how it happens in sports. You have one last hurrah. They got the championship in 2022 against Celtics, and then they had a deep playoff run last year in which they got to the second round and lost to the Lakers, and they upset the Kings in the first round. But they're just it's the end, and it sucks because we we as basketball fans we love and hate dynasties. We love to hate them. When Durant went there, it was oh damn, this team's now unstoppable. But now it's wow, it's just Steph, Clay, and Dre still all there together. All those years later, and they're gonna be relevant because when you have when you have a borderline top 12, 10 guy in Steph, wherever you rank them, you're always gonna be relevant. You're always gonna be around. But like I said, this summer, this offseason, there's gonna be a lot of questions. There's gonna be a lot of questions revolving the Golden State Warriors, and I'm excited to see what direction do they go. Well, that is my thoughts, opinions, and concerns over the Golden State Warriors losing and going home to the Sacramento Kings last night. I will be posting a third video today about going over the playing games for the East. That will be later tonight. But until then, I will see you all later. Lawson Turner, host of the Cover 2 podcast. Most awkward outro ever. Alright, guys, I'll talk to you guys later. Peace.